And you're in the Situation Room. Happening now, the horrific aftermath of a killer storm. A New York neighborhood reduced to rubble by fire at the height of Hurricane Sandy. In New Jersey, a direct hit leaves scenes of devastation. The governor calls it all unthinkable. Rescues are still underway right now. And public transit in America's largest city paralyzed as floodwaters inundate portions of New York's vast subway system. I'm Wolf Blitzer. You're in the Situation Room. We begin this hour in New Jersey, which bore the brunt of Hurricane Sandy. Hundreds of people have been rescued, but thousands may still be stranded. CNN's Brian Todd is in Teterboro, New Jersey for us. Brian, what's the latest there?
Well, Wolf, New Jersey has just taken a body blow from this storm. We're first going to show you pictures from Governor Chris Christie's aerial tour of some of the damaged areas along the coast and a little bit inland. You see scenes of just complete devastation, flooding all over the place, damaged houses and businesses, for street after street, neighborhood after neighborhood. And of course, one of those areas is the one that we've been dealing with in our region of New Jersey. Three towns, Moonachie, Little Ferry, and Carlstad. Three towns very close together, completely engulfed in floodwaters from about midnight on. That's when the Hackensack River, from a tidal surge from the storm, basically breached a berm or a levee. We're not sure exactly which one it was, but it was something, an earthen fortification. It got breached by a tidal surge, and within minutes, those three towns were completely engulfed in water, 4 to 6 feet on the street, again in neighborhood after neighborhood. We have some sound now that we've gotten from two people. One of them is Grace Pasquale, an elderly resident of Moonachie, New Jersey, who's lived there for at least a decade. She's going to tell us about what she lost. The second person you're going to hear from is Kathleen Donovan. She is the Bergen County executive, talking about some of the devastation she saw. But first, let's hear from Grace Pasquale, a resident of Moonachie, New Jersey.
Thank God I got at the second floor, so my kitchen's so full. So, and my living room is so full, so I lost everything. My sofa, my kitchen, everything.
If you've ever seen the aftermath of a flood, it's all the debris that's left behind. It's people who are in misery because they didn't expect it. It was not something that anyone ever had been through and anybody alive today. So it was totally unexpected and scary, and it was 1 o'clock in the morning, and it had been raining and high winds all day long. They had just been through a terrible ordeal.
And that terrible ordeal, unfortunately is not over. We're told that up until right about now, Wolf, rescues were still going on, but officials have told us that now at about 6 o'clock Eastern time, when it's starting to get very dark, fairly suddenly, they're going to have to stop the rescues. It's too dangerous to go back in there. The floodwaters are still around. Some high clearance vehicles that have been used to pull people out have actually had to turn back. The good thing is, fortunately, no one was killed, we're told. Very few minor injuries, but again, rescues still going on right up until about now, when they're going to have to call it off, Wolf.
They're going to have to continue those rescues. A lot of people are still in danger. Brian, thanks very much. New York's massive subway system is also shut down with extensive flooding in some stations, and buses still are not running. One transportation official says Hurricane Sandy, quote, wreaked havoc on our entire system. CNN's David Mattingly is working this part of the story for us. David, looks like it's a transportation mess in New York City. What can you tell us, first of all, about the subways?
Wolf, this storm seemed to accomplish the impossible. It took this city that is constantly on the move and stopped it cold. Right now, what we're hearing is it could be days before the subway trains start running again. There were 7 tunnels that go under the East River, connecting Manhattan to the boroughs outside. Those tunnels took on water, and now they're pumping that water out. But it's more than just an operation of getting rid of the water and drying things out. This salt water is going to be doing an awful lot of damage to their equipment down there, so it's going to take some time to get service restored to those tunnels. In the meantime, bus service might be starting back up later today and into the rush hour tomorrow morning, but it's going to be on a limited basis. They're saying that with this limited system, it's also going to be free for now. But at this point, commuters don't have a lot of choices. There are only about 4,000 taxis right now available. They're expecting that number to go up. But right now, for commuters, there are not a lot of choices. And as you can see by this station behind me. It is dark right now in the subway system, not ready to roll, and maybe days before it is ready to. Well,
what about people who want to drive in and out of Manhattan? Can they do that?
There are quite a number of bridges and tunnels that have been reopened. One notable exception is the Holland Tunnel. I have to tell you, coming in this morning from Connecticut, a trip that would normally take about an hour and a half, took us about 4 hours just to maneuver our way into Manhattan because of all the bridge and tunnel closures. But most of those are open now. Most of the roads are cleared of the debris. We ran into a lot of that as well, going through some neighborhoods. But as you can see, there's not a lot of electricity in some parts of Manhattan, so the stoplights aren't working. There's still going to be problems for people who do try to commute tomorrow morning.
What about the airports? When will they reopen?
LaGuardia was flooded last night. There was some spectacular video. When the storm surge came in, planes weren't able to land. They weren't able to take off. They were shut down. So was Newark, so was JFK. We're hearing that LaGuardia will be closed again tomorrow. Still waiting on final word on JFK and Newark. But at this point, that has rippling effects all across the country with air travel, not just here in the New York area. So again, right now we're looking at the beginning of the recovery. Mayor Bloomberg talking right now, saying that this is where things start to look up, starting to move up. We've hit the bottom, and now everything is starting to move toward that recovery. So expect to see things happening quickly when it comes to transportation. But as far as New Yorkers here, the regular commute is not going to feel right for quite some time.
Yeah, the city's going to be in trouble for a while. All right, thanks very much, David Mattingly. Just a little while ago, we got a firsthand account of what it was like in New Jersey as the hurricane was hitting. Kate Baldwin is here picking up this part of the story.
Absolutely. Well, Keith Paul was one of the last people to leave the historic resort of Seaside Heights, New Jersey, just across from Toms River. And Wolf talked to him last hour.
I live 4 houses from the Barnegat Bay, and it's the Seaside separates the Barnegat Bay from the ocean by about 3-4 blocks. And I'm right across in Toms River, and everyone has gotten flooded. It's coming halfway up their houses. They have just high-wheel trucks driving in to get the people out, National Guard around. It's destruction. It's devastation around here for a lot of people.
We're showing our viewers this National Guard video showing the sand that has come up, destroying, really covering so many parts of this area. You're an eyewitness to that. Describe what it's like.
Well, I'm telling you, I've lived here for 39 years. I've been through several hurricanes going back to Gloria, and I've never seen anything like this at all. When I was over in Seaside last night and we just started seeing the Berkeley Sweet Shop rip apart and the pier go down into the ocean, we knew it was time to get out of there. And we got out of there within 2 minutes of leaving. The light poles came down across the bridge. So if we didn't leave when we did, we would have been stuck there. And I had a wife and a 1-year-old child at home, so I needed to make sure I got home.
Seaside Heights, so are there still folks out there stranded as far as you know?
As far as I know, there's only a few. They did a really good job of getting everybody out of town. When I left yesterday, you barely saw anybody there except for a couple of the business owners checking on their businesses, and that was pretty much it at the time. From what I understood from the chief, they were 95% evacuated at that point.
So what happens next? What do you plan on doing over the next few days?
I got to be honest with you, there's really not much you can do. You really can't drive anywhere around this town. There's poles down, there's trees down across wires with transformers blowing up on the street. There's really, I mean, you go out and walk around, it's dangerous, because if you hit a puddle and it's got electricity, so there's really not much you can do right now until things start to get cleaned up a little bit.
All right, let's stay in New Jersey right now. CNN's Michael Holmes is in Toms River for us. Michael, you're just inland from the shore. What's going on? How bad are things there?
Yeah, it was a day-to-day, Wolf, of basically rescuing people who had been isolated in their homes by the floodwaters, and there's still a fair bit of water around, but things are slowly being cleared up. As I just heard there, the gentleman say, there were trees everywhere around Toms River. We're seeing them getting cut up now and seeing some of these cars that have been stranded in water removed. You know, those barrier islands, though, that was where most of the damage was done. And this, remember, was a mandatory evacuation zone. And so many people, we were over there yesterday and we spoke to people who said, we're local, how bad can it be, we're not leaving. Well, they found out how bad it could be, and they were being evacuated today by the police. We spoke to the police chief too. He said most people are off there now and it's all under control. But, you know, I spoke to a policeman, a patrolman, who helped bring those people back, and he was there last night too. And some of the stories he told about how it all went down there and what it was like were quite chilling. Have a listen.
It was total chaos over there. We had a complete breach over there. I don't think there was an area over there last night at all that was not covered by water.
And it looks like it's covered by sand as well.
There's a lot of sand. There's some sand dunes that are actually on Route 35. There's a house over on Route 35 that just floated right over there. There's cars everywhere.
Yeah, certainly the hardest hit there. You know, I got to say, Wolf, we were out during the storm last night with the local police, and although we're seeing evidence of FEMA today, National Guard, and that kind of support coming in, you know, the local cops, you got to hand it to them. They were out, they were helping people, rescuing them in the middle of all of this last night. Really did a real, you know, sterling job, the local guys. It was rather impressive, but the cleanup just getting underway, and there is a lot to clean up, Wolf.
Certainly is. Michael Holmes on the scene for us. Thank you. And to our viewers, you can be part of the recovery effort yourself. You can help those affected by Hurricane Sandy. Find out how to do so. Go to CNN.com/impact.
And still ahead, more dramatic rescues, premature newborns whisked away from a major New York hospital that lost power at the height of the storm. CNN's Sanjay Gupta has details on that and how they're doing, and also something we don't usually associate with hurricanes, snow. We'll show you the blizzard conditions Sandy brought to West Virginia.